Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, you're
I
welcome. Whatever I can
appreciate it.
do to help.
Hmm. Yeah, it is about spirits. And that's your field very
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
And how is the life for them, and why are they contacting us? And aren't they done like a lot of things? Well, there are lots of reasons, I guess, but yeah, it's mainly what it's going to be about. Because I think I interviewed you about your life and your background, because
Yes.
that's very interesting too. Um, that that you started seeing spirits from when you're 4, and
When I was very young. Yes.
very, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a very special story.
It's a very interesting story for sure. It really is.
Yes, we
Yeah.
had to work with your fears, and that's another thing that we in Medium are very much focused on is, um, yeah, decreasing the fear around the ghosts and
Yep.
making people less afraid and more understand more and get more knowledge about what's actually going on. And,
Yep.
mm,
Yep. Definitely. I think so
mm,
many people have a lot of fear, and they start to question it. They get into their head about it all, and
mm,
really there's no reason to get into their head about it. I mean, it's energy. It's simple energy, and that's how we communicate with them. It's through an energy transference. So yeah, there's a lot of science that now backs up what we're doing. So we actually that because obviously as we are starting to evolve and we're starting to understand the brain and we're starting to understand science, we've started to realize that actually there's a huge amount of science behind everything that we in an energy space now. So it's a lot of scientific backup, which I think is awesome.
mm. Okay. Can you
Yeah.
just name some examples of that science?
Yeah, so if we look at electromagnetic energy, so electromagnetic energy is everywhere. Um, so it's Wi-Fi, it's the refrigerator, it's absolutely everything. And what we're
Mm,
trying to do is we're trying to hit the opposite, which is scalar energy. So it's 0 point energy. And when we hit, say, a 0 point energy, what we're doing is we're getting into what is called the quantum. And the quantum field is where there's no time, no space, no energy, no sound, no light. And when we're in that space, what actually is, it's where the spirit identifies, where the spirit world is, and it's in the cosmos. So often, that's why people say, oh, heaven is in the stars in the sky. And that is because, heaven is seen, well, the quantum is often seen as space, as universe. But what we have to do is we literally, because our body is electromagnetic, when we die we no longer need this body. And what tends to happen is, so therefore our soul then goes into this quantum space. When we can hit this point of being, this point of slowing our mind down, slowing our energy down, allowing ourselves to be in the divine space of alignment, we can connect in. And so there's a lot of science that is now backing it up. And the fact that we all have the ability to communicate with spirit, and it's just using a different part of our brain. So we can all go into spirit, we can all utilize our intuition, which is another energy layer that we use, and we can all do the healing. So science is now becoming a very significant part in this work, that we're now able to prove that there is a afterlife.
mm. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, is this? I guess you learned this in your school. You have this school that you manage, and
Yes,
the spiritual development. Yeah,
that's right.
and you.
So I've actually been studying neuroscience, and I've been studying quantum physics. And so I've been also doing a huge amount of work in the healing component, in healing as well. And it's through my studies in neuroscience and healing and the quantum physics that we've actually come to this. This is old. This isn't new. This is very old, ancient wisdom. And it's something that I am now teaching in my school, because I think a lot of people fear, going back to your first question, a lot of people fear what the afterlife is. And so therefore, what we're trying to do is make it normal, normalizing the communication.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go through the questions I have.
Absolutely, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is it that so many deceased people, or well, they are spirits, but they seem to be left on Earth, that we seem to be left on Earth as ghosts? Like, I don't know if they are, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look at what ghosts are. Okay, so obviously, because in Norway, we have a language barrier, and I would call them spirits and you would call them ghosts. Ghosts to me are that haunting space where spirit has left a residue of energy. Okay, so I think I'll be honest with you. I think when we look at the amount of people that there are in the world, the amount of people that have died in the world, there aren't as many ghosts as people believe who have left, who've been left on the earth plane. The thing is the negative voice is often the loudest voice. So let's say if somebody does, a bad review of something, everybody listens to that. Okay, so everybody listens to the negative as opposed to the positive. And so when they think of people who are the spirits that are still lingering on the earth plane, it's a it's like 1%, even 0.5% of those spirits who have passed over. Okay, so it's a very, very small percentage, but it is because it's the more negative side, it's the more darker side of what we do. Okay, but in all fairness, I think it's a misconception that it is them left here, and it's not. What it is an energy residual that is still here, or it is something that is linked to a place or an issue that happened. But then we also have the other part of it, is why do spirit want to come back and talk to us? Okay, so it's that part that I think people misconceive, that they're remaining here, and they're not. They're actually coming back to us to say, hey, I'm okay. Hey, don't worry about me. Hey, there's an afterlife. Hey, we don't die. Hey, it's just your body that goes. And so I think that question is twofold, really. And I think it links on to your next question as well, which is, do we think that any human dies?
Do you think that when any human being dies, he or she can choose to come back to Earth as a ghost? Like, do you believe that spirits you have been in contact with have chosen to return to Earth as ghosts themselves, or is it something they can decide?
Okay, so so if we look at, as I said, if we look at what a ghost is more that negative haunting place. Okay, and so then when they are in that negative haunting place, they're not going to go over to the other side. They can, but they choose to remain earthbound. Now, those spirits who are coming back, let's say a spirit that is coming back for you or myself, they're choosing to come back and say, hey, Elizabeth, guess what? Everything's okay here. Hey, Lisa, guess what? Everything's okay here, because our curious mind as an individual, we want to know what happens when we die. We want to understand the afterlife. We want to settle our curiosity, mainly because It's going to happen to us. We're all going to die. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have this natural fear about it. And so I think they choose to come back to kind of put us ourselves at ease. But if they choose to not go into the afterlife or follow the white light and decide that, what we're going to do is we're going to, they're going to be haunted. I think a lot of it is that we are, they're actually choosing that life. They're choosing for whatever reason. Some are stuck, and for whatever reason it is, some are stuck. And that's the way it is. But honestly, I feel as though our loved ones come back just really to say, hey, I'm okay. And just to give us peace of mind to say the afterlife is real.
Because for me, it's a little scary thought if someone is stuck and that's someone I knew. But
yeah,
do you think that we actually, or is it just the energy of that person being stuck? Maybe but that the soul has moved forward. And
well, the stuck energy is it's not very often it happens. Most of the time, the only time I felt negative energy is really when, bad things have happened. Let's say someone was the murderer or someone haunted a place, and they did a mass killing somewhere. That's when I feel as though that they get stuck, only because they don't want to go and see what is being faced on the other side. So, people who have lived their life and just done general things are not going to get stuck.
No, that's good to hear.
No.
I don't want anyone to be stuck.
No, not at all.
So the common characteristics, what's the common characteristics of deceased people who return here? I mean, I kind of know them. I think I know some of the answer, but yeah.
Yeah. So when we talk about, I've just got to question the common characteristics. Is that how they come through to me as a medium? Is that what you're trying to ask?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way that they come through to me is, they come through exactly how they were. If like yesterday, I had someone who was really mean and that wasn't how they were in life. But had I have not explained, listen, they were really mean and they were really angry and they had a lot of issues, that person wouldn't have understood who it was. So they come through in the way that they were. So in the way that they were as a person in this life. But they are often a lot softer. There's a lot of sorrow. There's a lot of remorse. There's a lot of happiness. And so if someone was depressed, they'll come through as happy. So it does depend really on the person. Yeah.
Yeah. They all want to come through because they want to give a message, isn't it? Like they want, or
they do want to come through because they have a message. They have something to say or a little piece of advice they want to give. No one really knows. But yeah, I do think it's important that we understand what is it that they want to share with us. Because sometimes they want to share a variety of different things. Sometimes they want to warn us for whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is the life for them on the other side? What do they think about this new life, or to be a spirit in the spirit world? How is that?
Well, I think everyone who I've encountered, or every spirit that I've encountered who have gone on to their new life in the afterlife, there's never been, oh my God, I wish I wasn't here. There's never been any of that. It's always been, wow, this is beautiful. Oh my God, the love I felt. And I've never had it where people don't want to be in the afterlife. I've had it where people have maybe said, my life was cut short and I wished I'd have done things differently in this world. But their life is, so if I give you context, their life is much quicker, So for instance, what is like an hour here is almost feels, I'm just giving you an example, feels like probably a minute over there. So it's a very, very short, it's very quick. So there's none of this day and night, there is no day or night. It's an energetic space where there is no light, there is no day, there is no time, there is no energy, there is no light or sound. You will see on a very much an energetic feeling. So if we, think about it, if you're feeling, do you have children?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have, I'm just going by what you have behind you. So if you have children, you may just have this intuitive feeling that, let's say your daughter is sick, or whatever, you may just know something. And that is spirit, how spirit communicate. They know, they feel, it's an energy source. And it's so beautiful. I've never had a spirit who's turned around and said, oh, I don't want to be here, this is awful. So yeah.
That's comforting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How much do you think our spiritual beliefs, like believing in God or the afterlife or something else, influence whether a person will return to earth, ghost or not?
Now, are you thinking as a haunting, or are you thinking as a new life?
Haunting, I think.
Or are you thinking coming into,
or coming to communicate with us?
Coming to communicate. Okay. So I don't think it matters whether there is a spiritual belief. So, for instance, my grandfather did not believe in God, did not believe in anything, but he'll definitely come back and communicate. I mean, that man is very, very active. He comes back and he chats. So I don't think it matters, because, when we go over into the spirit world, your life is forgiven. There's a huge amount of forgiveness about all the things that you've done. We are our biggest judge in that space. And so I really don't feel as though you need to believe in that God or spirit or the divine, whatever it is, to have that communication. Because that just comes, I've had so many people who've come back, spirits, and have said, I was wrong. Oh, wow, there is an afterlife. Oh, my God, I was so they have come back and said these things to me. And it's been really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
If, I just have to breathe through, because
that's okay. If the dead person didn't believe in anything spiritual, would it be more likely that the soul will return as a confused ghost after death, or stuck on this earth plane, or having difficulties moving into the light, or to what many call heaven? I don't think so. I really don't. As I said, I think I've said that in my last question. And I use my grandfather as an example. He did not believe in spirit. He was not somebody that believed. And, he's definitely in the light. He's definitely in that space. And I feel as though what he has done is he's seen what maybe spirit is, God is, heaven is. And I've had many people who are religious who have passed, let's say Catholic, saying, oh, I've met Jesus, I've met God. So, I've had it all where there's been, I don't think it matters what your belief system is, because
Mm.
there's so many different belief systems. The one thing that is common thread throughout all belief systems is that there is an afterlife. And that
Mm.
is an important part.
Mm. So
Yeah.
many people are maybe surprised when they come over.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
there is something. Mm. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I have some leading questions I don't like now. I would have done these differently, but yeah.
That's
How,
okay.
like, what kind of responsibility, or how do you feel responsible as a medium, I guess, to help spirits if they feel stuck, or if they feel they can't get through to someone with a message, or do you have some kind of do you feel like
Yeah.
sympathy or empathy with the spirits who have you maybe get some much negative feelings from, or
So
mm,
that's twofold. Okay, so the
mm,
feeling of responsibility I do feel comes from me wanting to help the living person.
mm,
So I feel a huge amount of responsibility that I want to help the person in the living to really understand how spirit communicating with them and what is going on for them. So that is a responsibility for sure. I
mm,
don't necessarily feel responsible for the spirit, because that's the spirit's choice. Okay. Now, if the
mm,
spirit comes to me and says, "Hey, Lisa, I'm kind of stuck here. I need some help," then of course I want to help them. I want to give them an opportunity to really help them move through. And I feel that this is something that is very important. So, of course, I will help them. I will communicate. And I have actually done that. I have actually helped spirits cross over. Um, but as I said, that, if I look at out of, let's say, 5,000 I've done thousands of readings, but out of, let's say, 5,000
mm.
readings, I'll probably only help one in that time. So there's not many people that I feel are very, very stuck in the work that I do anyway.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, they are free spirits. So
Yeah, absolutely.
they have a free
Absolutely.
will. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, we hear a lot of stories in medium, or like um, that spirits are causing trouble in the houses people living, and
Yeah.
or noise, and the children are scared, and like strange things happen that they can't explain.
Yeah.
Uh, and they seem to be bothering us sometimes because they, I guess, yeah. Do they have like feelings and thoughts like us? And well, I guess they're trying to get through with a message when they are, and then they desperately cry for help. It's like knocking on the door and they can't get through or something. Is that
Okay.
how?
Yes. So these spirits, when they're, knocking at us and they're moving things or pulling our hair and things like that, is often they want their message. They want their story told. You know, this
Mm,
is often because they have a story. Maybe their story is untold. Maybe there has been some, I don't know, injustice somewhere. And that's often the case. That they,
yeah.
we're teetering on the edge of paranormal here, and that they want to get their story told. Maybe it's a historic fact, and it's often the case that they feel the need that it will help either the individual, or that there is a story behind them. And that's the important part. You know, they have the thoughts of, hey, my story needs to be told. It's important. Um, And so I think in a lot of ways, we get scared, but what we have to think of them is, imagine a toddler that can't speak and wants to tell you a story about what happened at school today. And they're
Mm.
using very limited words. And so that is really what is happening in the world of spirit.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you think that there is any hell that, or place where they can't, well, I guess it's not hell, but it's some intermediate state where they cannot progress? Like if there's some,
Yeah.
do they sometimes fall into that, do you think?
So I actually believe that that's when they get stuck here on the earth plane.
Okay.
I don't believe that there is, the dark, mystical, burning fires of hell. I don't believe that. I believe that the intermediary state is probably stuck on the earth plane. Um, Probably in that place where they're fearing going over because, they think justice will be served. That's what I feel is the circumstance. And really, to help these, I think it's important that we, they're heard. They have a story. They're heard. So I'll often talk to them and find out why they're stuck, why they are struggling, why they feel the need to, pull someone's hair or tap someone on the back or woo,
Mm.
or be seen. And, often it is their story. Their story is valuable. And maybe there has been injustice that has happened, and maybe they've been wrongly accused of something. So I do feel that what we can do to help these particular spirits is to actually listen to them,
Mm.
listen to them. But they're not in any form of hell. I think that they are just in that place of, in between life and heaven. That's what I feel.
Mm.
A lot of people will say that life is the hell, that we are
Mm.
living it right now. I personally don't believe that either, but I feel that we are very much in a place where we're living a real life. It's not all rosy. We have emotion, we have heartache, we have ups, we have downs. And I think that really, some spirits are just a little bit scared of going to face whatever they went through. And it's really
Mm.
just working with them and being, caring for them. And just as we care for our children and say, hey, it's not going to be that bad. And then they will cross over.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. What about those ghosts that have been on hotels for 200 years or so, and that they just keep staying there, or what? Could
So
it?
it could be that they are a spirit there, or it could be old energy. It could be
Mm.
residual energy. And it could be an impression of energetic. As I said at the beginning, there's electromagnetic energy. And with
Mm.
the electromagnetic energy, what we're doing is we're tapping into the energy and the energetic space of what has been there before, whether it is a spirit that has, always walked across the hallway. If the
Mm.
spirit has always walked across the hallway, what we're discovering is its old energies, just residue of an imprint that has happened many years ago. And so it's not necessarily a haunting. And
Mm.
then there are ghosts that are there naturally, and it is there because they don't want to move. And they're quite
Mm.
happy playing people up and poking them, and they find it a game. So again, it does depend on the individual spirit. And so I think it's really important that people understand that there are spirits that choose to linger, and then there are places that haven't been cleansed of the energy, And it's not a ghost itself, it's actually just residual energy.
And you can maybe clean it.
Yeah. Have you ever been into a shopping center which has not got anybody there? Have you ever been into a shopping center and done that? And it feels a little bit weird, or a place that normally is really, really busy, and you've walked into that busy place and it's like really empty, and you're like, oh, it feels weird in here. Okay.
Yes. Corona.
Well, yeah. Okay. So that energy, that like, oh, it feels weird in here. It's because the energy is so used to it being busy. Okay. Very, very busy. And now all of a sudden it's empty and it feels weird because it's so used to having such vibrant energy. And that's the same energy of what these, it feels like when it's not a spirit, but it's just old energy.
Yeah.
So like how most people felt when they were when we were in COVID.
Yes.
Hotels and airports and things like that.
Oh, very strange. Empty. Yeah. Yeah. What can we as normal people do? I'm not a medium, but is there something we can do if we experience things like this? I mean, we probably don't have to be trained as mediums then to.
No, you don't have to be trained. You don't have to be trained at all. And I think we're all intuitive. We all are sensing things. Especially if you're very sensitive, if you're highly sensitive, you are, I bet you're quite an emotional person. Okay. And as an emotional person, you're very in touch with your emotions. You're very in touch with your energy around. You're probably very empathic and feel what other people feel. And so even though you haven't been trained, you pick up on energy. You have an energetic field. I have an energetic field. And when you communicate with energy in an energetic field, you feel, rather than feeling here, you feel outside and you feel what's around you, if that makes sense. You're feeling the air around you. What you're doing is you're feeling other people's energy, because we're mixing. Even like this, we're mixing. And so you put a spirit in, you put a spirit that's coming in, you're going to feel that energy too. Yeah, and they're not scary. I think a lot of times people, because they feel energy, they get scared by it, and they get very like, oh, this is not normal. Yeah, it's a bit freaky. It can be heavy. It can be all of that. But I think what it is because you're not used to it. And, we freak out. And so instead of freaking out, we have to go, okay, it's not going to hurt me. And then maybe talk to it. See what you think. See what you feel. See what comes up. And I think that would really help.
Yeah, it's to have the courage to do so.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a little bit, oh my God, I don't want to do it. Or just tell them to go away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to an old hotel where there is a lady going like this, say there is a story about her. Lots of people have experienced her. Yeah. But I couldn't sleep all that night. I was so afraid. I was under the duvet.
Of course. Well, I would be too as well.
Okay.
Those things.
Really?
Oh yeah. I don't. In my downtime, I don't want to experience spirits. I want to be sleeping. I don't want to be talking to them. I talk to people all day. I don't want to talk to them. So I would be like you, hiding.
Yes, like now. I was thinking of some deceased people in the world that I know, that I don't want to see them. I don't want them to see me having a shower or I don't want to have that. Think about them then, or because when you think about them, don't they come to us? Like if someone said to me that if we think about a spirit, that will come to us in a way.
It's true. It's very true. When you think about a spirit what you're doing is you're sending an energy signal out to hello. You're doing that. So I would say don't think about them in the shower. But there is an unwritten rule. Let's think about this. There's an unwritten rule that they're not going to come and watch you in the shower or be the peeping Tom or watch you on the toilet or anything like that. They don't need to do that. That is a human. That's a human condition. That's a human need. That's a human desire. That's a human weirdness. Spirit aren't that. It is not that at all.
Because maybe they don't see that. I don't know. Maybe they just see.
Yeah, they don't need to see it. And in all fairness, they don't need to see it. It's not something that is attractive to them or interests them. They're more on, they're more on a 5-dimensional energy where this is not the earth plane. Doesn't, that is all ego. That is their human self. And we think in human terms. They don't. They come from a heart-centered self. So they're not going to do the invasive stuff anymore. That is just not who they are.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're safe in the shower.
Yeah. Very good.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, it's nice to see you again.
Much. Nice to see you too. Very nice.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You take care. All right. Enjoy your night. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.